Hello and welcome to Soul in Balance, the place to get you regular solar system news. And in this video, we'll be going over the total solar eclipse and new moon in Cancer that'll be happening on the 3rd of July at 5:19 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Now, look, it has been really intense, and I know that I say this every video, but at this time we're really, peeling off more layers of what conditioning we've had and old attachments that we've had, ways that we've been able to get our needs met through other people. So whether it be emotional or validation, security, all those types of things. So we're really having to throw off all those external crutches and really come into our own core self-reliance, especially emotional self-reliance. So it has really been a tough time in the sense of all the old stuff that's been coming up to be faced. So, we're looking at things like family dynamics, work dynamics, but it will more so affect you where it falls in your birth chart, so what house. But realistically, we're all being triggered in the sense of relationships, which usually comes from and stems from, our family dynamics and also past life dynamics that we're here to clear, and especially on a collective level as well. So it is just super intense, but this new moon is going to be absolutely mystical and magical, and there is just so much hope and drive forward to have a better life. So if we can process some of the stuff that's going on, if we can be that emotional self-reliance at this time and move into our new desires and our new hopes and our dreams with confidence and our own reassurance, we're really just going to plow through this. But it is important that we do take time at this time to go over the old stuff, to peel off more layers of that onion that need to come off, because we are a soul. We are whole within ourselves. We do not need any external crutches to make us have self-worth or self-love. That is what we have as our birthright, our soul right to have that. So we're really just throwing off so many old conditioning, whether it be through the patriarchy, through our societies, through the government, through our schooling, through our family. So all this stuff is really just being thrown off at the moment. So we just have so much faith within ourselves to go in the direction that we want. But stay tuned and we'll go through what's going on. So I just want to quickly say that if you're someone that likes to stay up to date with the cosmic weather or understanding what's going on just as a collective or what's happening for us emotionally, definitely subscribe to the channel. It's just really important at this time that we're all aware and understanding what is going on so we know how to survive. So definitely subscribe to the channel and stay up to date. Okay, so total solar eclipse and new moon in Cancer, and the ruler of Cancer is the moon, so it's going to be super amplified. The understanding and what represents Cancer, the archetype of Cancer. So Cancer is our emotions, it represents the mother, it represents our fundamental needs on an emotional level and how we need to emotionally support ourselves, what makes us feel good. It's really honoring our feelings, it's our intuition, it represents the home. So at this time, what we need to be doing is starting a new way of living, in a way of emotionally supporting ourselves, being our own emotional self-reliance. And that means nurturing ourselves on a motherly level as well, being our own home within ourselves. Do you know what I mean? So I think at this time, the best thing to do is to have a look at the polarity point, which is Capricorn. So Capricorn is all about building structures. It's about having a solid foundation. It's about having strong boundaries and using discernment, having restrictions and, being committed to something. So if we, if we add that to this new moon, what we're really needing to do is to start a new way, start a new foundation of being our own emotional support. And, it's really important this time to do this, because it's going to help us in the future move forward. With the North Node in Cancer, it's for the 18 months, it is really being emphasized at this time that we really need to be taking a look at how we're emotionally supporting ourselves. And as we do have, the moon, the sun, and the North Node in Cancer, and then over at the opposite end we have the South Node, Pluto, and Saturn, and that's kind of breaking down those old patriarchy structures and the old, societal structures and our old conditioning. It's giving us like a road to move down where it's okay to be in our emotions. It's okay to honor how we feel. It's okay to be our own emotional self-reliance. So realistically, we really need to be honoring this and really coming home to ourselves. And I can't emphasize that enough, because it is happening across the board for all of us. And if we tie that in with an eclipse, which is all about radical change, drastic change. It's, energy from the universe being pushed through to bring about radical change. So we're just in a complete different direction of where we need to go. We're going to understand the seriousness of what we need to understand at this time, what we need to change. And if we even have a look at the souls that are born around eclipse time, they're souls that are here to bring about radical change. And I'm one myself. I was born at a total lunar eclipse, so I know that I'm not here about continuing the status quo. I'm definitely here to shake things up and bring about change. And I think most people that are on the spiritual path or into astrology or into healing, they're also on that path too. So this really is a time of changing course, changing direction. And with Mars, that's going to be at 0 degrees of Leo, which is about, honoring ourselves, initiating our creativity and, sharing that love, being in our heart space, honoring our inner child. This is really being, amplified, that we need to make these changes now. And I think for most of us, we really don't have a choice, because we are being faced with just like our, parts of our lives and situations in our lives just falling away like an avalanche, like all our old attachments and our old crutches and our old conditions are just breaking away. And it is quite painful, it is quite debilitating. And especially if it does involve work or does involve family, because these are the areas that are being highlighted, these, polarities and dynamics, it can really make us feel really shit about ourselves. We can be feeling, lots of guilt and resentment and, just feeling so low about who we are. But that is only going to make us love ourselves, make us validate ourselves, because once you hit rock bottom on an emotional level, it's usually you that picks yourself up eventually, and because you're honoring yourself regardless of your situation. And this is where we're all needing to be and grow from, because we need to be able to be whole within ourselves without all our crutches. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say, like the majority of the spiritual community, that we need to be completely self-sufficient and have no connections and, just love ourselves and that's all we need, because I think that's incorrect. I think, we're a species that needs to be part of a community. But I think realistically, we just need to be able to love ourselves, honor ourselves, value ourselves without any external validation of that. And that is what we're needing to do, because we are infinite beings. We're not just, plain simple human beings, and all we're here to do is to eat, sleep, go to work, consume, buy, have children, have a white picket fence, go on a holiday once every few years. We're actually here to bring about change. We're here to, live the life that we want to live, to grow, to learn, to expand. So yeah, we're not just our circumstances, and it is really hard. Some of us are having two-faced family dynamics where we just have to put up boundaries and be like, no, this stuff isn't allowed in my world anymore. Like, I'm going to step in and honor myself. And that is what the Capricorn part is saying. Have boundaries. Your emotions are important, and we're all having to do it. And the same with work. Like, we could be in situations where we're not being respected. We can't use our creativity. We can't live in our passion. So we need to, make changes, and that can be leaving whatever job you're in. And it is hard if you are somebody who's married and has children and has a mortgage. Okay, so this video is going to be coming to you guys pretty late, as this eclipse energy has just been so intense, especially for me as well. I just had my birthday not long ago, so it's just triggering, the aspects in my chart. So I've just been like totally wiped out. And I am somebody that doesn't have a lot of connections with my family. I'm somebody who was the scapegoat of the family, the black sheep of the family. And, on a, what would you say, on a generational perspective, I've had the generational stuff passed on to me with abuse and, emotional neglect and violence and all those types of things. So I've had to put up boundaries. I've had to be like, no, this isn't okay in my life. I've had to say that certain family members can't be a part of my life because they don't honor me and respect me. So I've just had to be like, no. And when it's your birthday and when it's this eclipse season, it's just, twice as intense. You have all the feelings of guilt and shame for, wanting to protect yourself, wanting to value your own emotions. So yeah, I don't know if anyone else has been feeling the same in the sense of family dynamics, but I know for me personally, it's just been really triggering. And I'm somebody that pretty much gets, post-traumatic stress disorder every year when it's my birthday. And I literally just go into like this meltdown of just like rejection and, so many subconscious things just come up from like early childhood. So yeah, it's just been really hard. And I think that we've all kind of been facing this in certain ways. And I would have to say, the best way to cope with the energies right now would be just to honor your feelings. Like, I've had so many people messaging me or clients, say, Alicia, like, what do I do? How do I handle this energy? How do I move forward? Because there is so much drive to move forward. But at the same time, there's all this undercurrent coming up, and then we've got the pressure from Saturn and all these types of things happening. So I just think the best thing to do is to just honor how you feel and push out as much as you can the subconscious voices and the external voices that are telling you, negative thoughts that aren't honoring your internal being. So if I could say anything, is just to try and block out that negative self-talk and just try and put in those good thoughts to yourself. Be that mother to yourself, be that internal mother, be that home within yourself, and you should be able to make it through. Like, I think the energies will kind of ease up a little bit after this eclipse has happened. But then on the 9th of July, we're going to have Mercury go retrograde, which will go back into Cancer. So that means when it's a retrograde, Mercury, or our communication and the way we gather information, is full. and it needs to throw off some of that thinking, and it's going back into a watery Cancer. So it means that we're going to have to go back into our feelings again and then re-throw off some of the stuff. But I think the amazing aspect that will be happening at this eclipse, as well as it being an eclipse, is that Mars will be in Leo at 0 degrees, which means, you know, initiating that self-love and that inner child and our creativity and what we want to bring about into the world, you know, like just honoring ourselves and just being proud of ourselves. So this is happening as well. As much as all that undercurrent of stuff is coming through, whether it's collective, whether it's generational, whether it's from your immediate family or in relationships, there is these other aspects that are really, you know, pushing that change, pushing for that new evolution to be coming through. But I think just hold tight. And I think another big thing that's coming up is sleep, like just needing to sleep and just, you know, check out in a way. But at the same time, we've got all these desires to make things happen, and there's like a bit of an urgency. It's like, yeah, we have to do it now or we're going to miss the boat. And I know that I've been experiencing that myself, but I've just had to say to myself, you know, like, it will happen when it needs to happen. And right now, my body and my heart and my mind is telling me I need to just relax and be present and then be there for myself and my emotions. And I, you know, I would say that to everyone else as well, needs to kind of be doing the same. Like, the internal work, the emotional work is just as important as any business idea, any creative venture, any relationship, anything in our life is equally as important as the emotional work that we need to do. Like, we can't be just putting an emphasis on the moving forward, because we can't move forward until the inner stuff is sorted, because what's going on internally is just a mirror of our external, you know, situations, our relationships especially. So if we're having trouble in our relationships, that's a mirror of what our relationship is with ourselves. So yeah, it's just really a time of coming in and just checking in and being present and going through the motions, going through the feelings. You know, there might be days where you can't do anything. You just want to be in bed. You want to be sad. And, you know, like, you can't get past the negative thinking or the internal dynamics that are going on. And that's okay. You know, sometimes you need to check out and just be like, all right, I can't be part of the world right now. I just need to be here for myself, be the mother, soothing my wounds, soothing my emotions, because we can't be expecting other people to be nurturing us and making us happy. We have to make ourselves happy. And I think, you know, I'm not to say that you can't have any friends or anyone supporting you, because that's just craziness. But I do believe at this time there are friends and there are divine friendships and partnerships coming through that are going to just be like this helping hand, like, hey, give me your hand, you're amazing, get up, do not listen to those voices. Like, I know myself, I have some friends in Egypt, and I've just been so down the last few days, and when I told them I was upset, they're like, Alicia, you're amazing. What do you mean? You can talk to us about it, blah, 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 blah. And it was just like so amazing to feel so supported. You know what I mean? But then also not to rely on that. I need to rely on myself. I need to pick myself up. But then just to have that support network, like, as I don't have a huge family network of support, I have friendships that are like my family. And just to have so many great friendships, just to have friendships that are like a family is just absolutely amazing. And I think there's a lot of stigma with, you know, when you're not necessarily close with your family. Everyone's like, what do you mean? It's your family. Of course they love you. You know, like, of course they want to care about you and do everything for you. But the reality is, not everyone's family is like that. You know, there's a lot of dynamics where we've, you know, chosen families where the parents are narcissistic. And, you know, we need to be able to detach from that. And that's the thing that I've learned from many, like, you know, scapegoat and black sheep of the family situations is that black sheep of the family or that scapegoat needs to leave those family dynamics to find a sense of self-worth, to start to love themselves, you know. And I think a lot of the general public don't actually understand that, you know. So it is really hard. Like, it's really hard for some people to grasp, and especially when you're in those situations, you find that you're a little bit separate from other people because they don't understand you. They don't understand what you're going through and the fight that you have to have just to love yourself. So yeah, sorry for that bit of a rant, but I just believe at this time it's just really an intense time, especially around family situations where we just be needing to have a new start and create our own family in our own worlds and within ourselves. So yeah, if you're in the same boat as me, definitely be present for yourself and, you know, respect the decisions that you've made. You know, be your biggest fan for your decisions and support yourself. You know, if you're putting up boundaries with people that aren't respecting you, good on you. You know, like, do not feel guilty or feel bad, even though those thoughts are coming up right now. They're just coming up to be cleared. Those old, you know, patriarchy and conditioned and generational, you know, talk that we've, you know, that's been passed down for generations and generations, and even from our past lives, that we're here to clear. So it'll be all in your birth chart. And if you wanted me to go over your birth chart with you, you know, all my details are down in the description, or you can go to my website and we can go over your birth charts and see what's going on for you. So you've got a bit of a map and understanding about how to move forward in these types of dynamics. But yeah, it is a really tough time. So just really be present with yourself, honor yourself, love yourself, be the mother that you need, be your biggest support. So yeah, I just want to say that if you're into astrology and you know your birth chart, the best thing to do is to find out where this eclipse will be happening in your chart. So have a look where 10 degrees of Cancer is. But I'm going to say, you know, give it a bit of a wider orb because it is so intense. The emotions are so intense, and because we have Mercury going back into Cancer as well, and with the nodal axis and all the stuff that's going on with, you know, Pluto and Saturn and just the ending of structures, I'm just going to give it like a 10-degree orb on both sides. Most astrologers will only go 5, but I just think this is just so intense, and it's really making us come home to, you know, who we are and understanding our worth. And we need to figure this out before the nodal axis goes into Gemini, which will be, you know, giving us, you know, better tools to learn and bring in new knowledge. And if we've, you know, sorted out the home front, sorted out the inside stuff, then we'll be able to learn knowledge and take in stuff better, communicate better, bring about, you know, our new ideas in a lot, like in a better way. So I think, yeah, giving it a 10-degree orb for this eclipse is pretty good. So yeah, so pretty much it will be maybe from 0 degrees of Cancer till about 20 degrees of Cancer, and the opposition, which will be in Capricorn, so 0 to 20 degrees of Capricorn. So see what aspects or angles you've got or planets you've got in your chart for Cancer and Capricorn, and especially what house, because what house is like the main you know, the main situation here. So if you think about, you know, astrology and the birth chart, the house is like the character and the sign is just the clothes. So it might be Cancer or Capricorn, but it's really the house that's the important factor here. So yeah, definitely this time check out where this falls in your birth chart. So I'm going to do some cards for this eclipse. I'm going to do 2 different decks because I just think, oh my God, the more information, the better, really. But yeah, so just wondering how you're all going for your experience. Leave some comments below of how you're feeling, what's going on for you. What do we have here? Purification, fire, bare essentials, the naked truth and wholeness. So I think that's really important. I think it is a time of purification. We're purifying our old subconscious beliefs. We're purifying our old emotions. And realistically, we're seeing the naked truth, you know, like with Neptune retrograde, Mercury retrograde, Pluto and Saturn retrograde, and then Mercury that's about to go retrograde as well, we are going to be seeing the naked truth, and then that's going to bring us into wholeness. So it really is a time of purification, and if we can understand that and embody that feeling of purification, it is going to make the process a lot easier. I know we can get really stuck, especially with Cancer season, because it is subjective. So we just feel so overwhelmed and so threatened in our environment and in our hearts and in our body, that it can just feel like we're being attacked from every angle. But we need to understand that we're just purifying the old. The old is just coming up so it can just be thrown off. So yeah, don't feel too down in the dumps. It is going to clear. We are going to move forward into a better direction. Like eclipses just radically throw us into a new place, but at the same time we need to, you know, sort out the old to actually be, you know, kind of catapulted in that direction. So that's for that one. And the next deck, which is my fave, which is like the cosmic deck, which I kind of see is like just, you know, like a universal information and communication to help with what's going on. So hopefully a card will come out. I've had a bit of a struggle lately with cards not coming out. I'm like, all right, maybe there's no message. Oh, yeah. So I'm thinking about doing like a new YouTube show where I do like an interactive talk. So like you put in your questions of what you'd like to know, and then I kind of in the video, you know, answer your questions, and we can use astrological perspective, spiritual healing, whatever it is. So if you're interested in doing like an interactive Q&A with me via YouTube, yeah, definitely leave any questions you have about your own current circumstances or any just spirituality questions, astrology questions, and yeah, we'll see how this rolls out. So the next one is mirrored souls. So mirrored souls is we're going to be attracting what is going on internally. So if we are working on ourselves, we're having boundaries and we're honoring our feelings, we're going to attract people that do the same. You know, like we're going to have people that are supporting us. We're going to have people that respect our boundaries. So the more internal work we do, the more we'll have friends and people come into our lives that mirror this. So I think I talked about this earlier in the video, is that we really just need to just be, you know, respecting our internal stuff and not skipping out on ourselves. Because when we can't cope, and we're skipping out on ourselves, going into our fantasies, going into addictions, we're then going to attract people who are doing the same, and they're going to skip out on us too. Okay, so I want to quickly go over the Sabian symbols for this degree of this eclipse and new moon in Cancer. And we have, so there's two types of Sabian symbols. There's Dan Rooney's and then there's Elias Lonsdale's. So the first one we've got is Cancer 10 degrees, a large diamond in the first stages of the cutting process. Keen note, an artist's training for perfection in order to fully manifest an ideal. Now, you know, we all are a diamond in the rough, you know, we're all amazing souls. But what we need to do, like a diamond in the cutting process, is to get rid of all the stuff that is stopping us from shining. And that is exactly what is going on. We need to get rid of the old conditioning from our family, the old conditioning that we've put on ourselves, our old, you know, internal dialogue, and, you know, the conditioning from our society and the patriarchy. We need to start cutting all that off. And yeah, it is hard, especially retraining the subconscious mind. Like, I know that, you know, I have issues with that. I need to work on that. I need to work on, you know, how I talk to myself, you know, and it's really come up at this time as well. So yes, definitely this is a great analogy for this degree. And then we've got the next one, which is Elias Lonsdale. And that is a violent hailstorm. Great disruption serves long-term continuity. By submitting yourself periodically to excruciating soul ordeals, to serve tests and trials, you make sure your destiny is self-renewing. You pull in at these junctures. What is alien or strange or far from removed in your own way of being? By suffering the imposition of the dark stranger, you completely shake up all smug structures. Much of your life is keyed into enduring under onslaught, being able to form yourself into one who can encompass absolutely anything. The path indicated is neither chaotic nor random. It's sharply pointed to take on experiences and lessons that are needed and to fully transmute the karmic sequences. You have a core commitment to tackling the hard stuff with fury of intent and just enough to make the whole thing work, revealing that you can do the impossible if your will is singular and your inner strength to go the distance is solid and real as any obstacle, or even more so. Now, I hope that made sense. But all in all, it's about, we are all going through trials. We are all having to push ourselves into these ordeals and karmic sequences so we can evolve, you know. And with it saying a violent hailstorm, that's exactly what it's been. Like, just we've had this onslaught of stuff just come up to be processed, but the more we can do that, the more refined we're going to be, and it is going to pass, you know. So make the most of what's happening. That's all I can say in retrospect to these degrees. And what it's saying is that we just need to, what would you say, cut off the fat. Cut off the stuff that's holding us back, because we can't move into the future, we can't move into the new frequency if we've got all this stuff still, all our baggage and all our old belief systems and all our old stuff. And I know it feels like the universe is against us and we've just been smashed. It's like, we have a good couple of days or a good week, and it's like, I've overcome that, and then the next wave hits and it's just like, oh my god, I don't know if I can handle this. I only just got up from the last one. But so just keep going. It's going to be hard for a while, like with this Pluto-Saturn conjunction in the South Node. At least until April next year, we're just going to get smashed. So I think if we just keep a mindset of this and just go with the flow, like understand that when we need to just crash and be down and let go of what we need to let go of, we need to honor the process. And then we rebuild ourselves and then get back up, and then we do it all over again, because that is why we're here. We're not here just to, have a fluffy, cushy life and, have the white picket fence and sit by the pool sipping lemonade and, it's just not supposed to be this easy life. None of us came here at this time, in the world, in reality, to have it easy. All of us have come here on a mission to go through this stuff. All of us are equipped to handle this stuff as well. I just think, we've just been so conditioned to have no self-worth, no confidence, to handle these things. We're just being taught to just soldier on, pretend everything's perfect, just survive on the surface level stuff, the shallow stuff, and, keep moving. But, obviously the people that are really connected and really enlightened, that's just not even an option, especially when you're here to bring about the change. So, if I can just say anything, is just roll with it. Seriously, and just be there for yourself. Be your biggest fan and surround yourself with people who get it, who respect you and, think that you are amazing. And it's not to say that they're a crutch either. We need to be having a kind of detached, unconditional relationship with these people as well. It's not to say that, you can't connect to them, you can't, connect to them on a heartfelt level. It's just to try and have try and be in that Aquarius perspective, where you're just a little bit attached. You're there and you're not relying on it. It's nice, it helps you survive, but at the end of the day, you're your powerhouse. You're the one who helps you survive. So yes, that is it for the Sabian symbol. Okay, so yes, at this eclipse, it is going to create a lot of changes, and it can be changes that last a lifetime. Obviously these eclipses bring about change for 6 months, but it's changes that change your whole life. So plant those seeds of intention, know what needs to change, and just be there for yourself. And, I think with all new moons, it is about setting intentions, but I think at this time it's really good to surround ourselves with water, with our respect for our emotions, and just having that comfort within ourselves. Cancer is being at home, so being at home in our feelings, respecting our feelings, and being okay with them. I think what makes us more wounded is that we think there's something wrong with us, and our feelings are wrong. And I think what heals us the most is that we think, or we respect our feelings. We might be somebody who gets angry and loses it. We might be somebody who is so over emotional that you can't go out into the world. Whatever it is, you might be so sensitive you can't be around people for very long. Whatever it is, whatever the way you operate is, you need to respect that. You might be someone that just can't be around superficial people. You have to have some depth and some understanding in your relationships. Honor that. This is a time for honoring your feelings and honoring who you are, not just the nice fluffy stuff that everybody loves, the stuff, the dark stuff, the stuff that makes you different, the stuff that you don't necessarily want to show the world. Honor that inner bitch, and I don't like saying that, but it's true. How many times where, somebody was doing something to you or pushing your boundaries and you've just had to stick up for yourself. If you didn't have that inner person that protected you, that inner fire, you'd just be this victim all the time. So I think we need to be respecting, these elements of ourselves that society classes as wrong, like our anger and our pain and things like that. That's what makes us who we are. And they need to be nurtured just as much as any other aspect in our life. So yeah, that's definitely what I'd like to say about that. But yeah, as I was saying earlier, I'm thinking about putting a new program on my YouTube channel, a Q&A. So if you have any questions you'd like me to answer, I definitely appreciate that, because I'd like to see how this rolls out, because I think it's important to connect to the community that you are reaching out to. I think that's what helps people the most, is that people can ask a question and someone is there to answer it, and work together as a community, because you'll probably find a lot of the questions you have other people have too. So I would really like to help in that way, help bring people together and answer any questions if I can. So yeah, if you have anything you'd like to talk about or be a part of the Q&A, please leave any questions or whatever it is in the comments, or email me at info@soulimbalance.net, or go to my website, which is www.soulimbalance.net. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I honestly hope everybody has a magical total solar eclipse and new moon in Cancer. It is going to be hard, and my heart goes out to you all. You're not alone, because I'm completely suffering with it myself. Yeah, I had to have coffee today even just to do this video, and I don't drink coffee. It's really bad for your stomach lining and then causes more issues mentally. So it's just oh my God. But yeah, so yeah, my heart goes out to you all, and I'm totally in the same boat as you too. So yeah, you're not alone. We're all in this together. But yeah, so many soul journey blessings, and have a super total solar eclipse and new moon in Cancer.